All right. Good morning, Dr. Weiss and the rest of the class. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. Today I'll be presenting on my trade book review and talking about this fantastic book, Spark, that I think is truly an amazing book for not only educators but students as well. So again, the title of the book is Spark, the Revolutionary New Science of Exercise in the Brain. The author is John J. Rady. There's also a co-author, which is Eric Hangerman, and the genre is a nonfiction. Brief summary. This book explores the mind-body connection, presenting startling research to prove that exercise is truly our best defense against everything from depression to ADD, to addiction, to aggression, to menopause, and to Alzheimer's. The first, and I'm kind of briefly going over each chapter and its significance to our students. First talks about learning, so grow your brain, how exercise can improve the brain function, and overall, and at the end, improve your academics as well. Moving on to chapter 3, it goes into detail how exercise can improve stress, the greatest challenge. So how exercise plays a role in students' stress levels and how the exercise can reduce those stress levels. Chapter 4 goes into anxiety, nothing to panic about. A lot of our students are going through anxiety. Maybe we as teachers are going through anxiety. So it talks about the significance of exercise and it backs it up with data as well. Chapter 5 goes over depression, move your mood. So we know that students are going through depression, they're going through traumatic events in their life. We as educators may be depressed as well. So this book talks about how exercise can help with that. Moving on to chapter 6, attention deficit disorder, running from distraction. We as educators know many of our students may have attention deficit disorder, and so exercise plays a critical role in that. And so it goes into detail on how we can implement exercise to help with attention deficit disorder, and again, it backs it up with data and research. Chapter 7 goes over addiction, reclaiming the biology of self-control. We as educators know that many students are addicted to their cell phones or addicted to maybe other things as well. And so it dives deep in how exercise can help with that. Hormonal changes. We know our adolescents are going through hormonal changes. The book goes into more specifically the impact on women's brain health and how exercise can improve and help with the hormonal changes that many women and adolescents are going through at this important time in their life. And then chapter 9 talks about aging. Maybe not as important as students at the moment, but it does talk about how exercise can improve and help with aging. And so it goes over the wise way. That's the chapter. And so many of the connections. So most of the research takes place at Naperville's program. It's a high school. It talks about how a lot of this research was done there, and they were able to see these huge connections between exercise and an improvement of everything that these chapters talked about. Majority of the students are going through all the issues I just previously talked about. They're going through anxiety, they're going through depression. They want to improve their academics. So the book supports everything it says with data and research and how exercise can drastically improve all elements of these chapters. It gives students a reason to exercise and gives meaning to the application to what they are doing. And so when students read this book, which it's a very easy read, and I think when students read this book, it gives meaning to everything they're doing within physical education and why exercise plays a critical role, not only in their academics, but at home and in their community. I think it can be implemented in any unit, really. If I'm doing a unit, a track unit, or if I'm doing a swim unit, right? Those are both forms of exercise that are not the traditional kind of running, the mile or running the a mile and a half. So these are different forms of exercise, aerobic exercises that are fun for kids. And so I think this book can truly be implemented as a form of literacy for my students in any unit that I do for my students. Moving on, so the development of academic language, vocabulary, and critical thinking. There's constant academic language and terminology students will use through the year in physical education. So all the terminology that's in this book, students are consistently hearing throughout all of my units. So we see this connection between Spark, this amazing, fantastic book, and the academic language and vocabulary and terminology that they're using in all of their units that I'm teaching. So I think I love that correlation. It's a great source to use for projects. So if students are doing a research project, which my students are doing at Valhalla High School at the end of the semester, this book I'm going to be implementing so that they can refer to this book for research data, that they can support the data and the reasoning within their project. It's a great way for students to think about these issues and how they apply to them and their family. So many of their parents, many of their cousins are maybe going through health issues, maybe are going through depression, or going through addiction, or going through a lot of these issues. And exercise, again, like we talked about earlier, plays an important role. So these students can now kind of, in a way, play the expert in it and help their parents or help their family members get through exercise, and they can support the reasoning with great data and research. Our health, as well as our family's health, is important to every individual. So I think it's an automatic interest for most students and teachers as well. I also think it allows students to apply what they are learning to help individuals in their family or community to live a healthier life through exercise and be able to support their reasoning with data, like I talked about earlier. It's important and it's critical. I've actually told many students about this book to kind of start thinking about it, and a lot of them have purchased it and are reading it. They absolutely love it. It gives, like I said, it gives reason and meaning to what they're doing in physical education, and it hits the number one standard that we want for our students in physical education. And that is to carry on, right, the importance of health, nutrition, and fitness to the rest of their life, so that they continue to exercise and eat healthy as they become older adults, and understanding that the impact it has on them, and the more the impact it has on them as they get older. Some of the recommendations, I was recommended actually this book by my physical education methods professor at San Diego State. I highly recommend the book for my students as well as colleagues in any subject area. The book is research-based. It's one of the best books I have read in a while. It gives importance to our subject area and the critical role physical education plays in our students' life. It informs our students on why we do what we do and how exercise can change their life in a multitude of ways. I want to thank you guys for listening and taking in consideration this amazing book, Spark. I hope you guys understand the importance of it. And you don't have to be a physical education teacher to read this book. You can be a math teacher, a social science teacher, a science teacher, and implement a lot of what Sparks talks about in their book into their classrooms, and give students a form of a brain break or some form of exercise to get that brain going to help with any issues that they're going through. So again, thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a great week.